I'd like to go ahead and bring the Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting to open session. If you would, please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, that's right.
All right, next item would be the consent agenda.
First item we have is the regular meeting minutes from April 19th, 2016, the executive session minutes from April 19th, 2016, the monthly economic development report, and the monthly finance report.
All right, before we move on, is there any comments on any of these anybody would like to share?
Well, I was going to have a question for Michelle on economic development part of it, but I see she's not here.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately, she had an emergency, so she...
I'll pass on that, but it had to do with some of the work sessions that the EDC has coming up for the members of the mayor and the board members of different cities. I just wanted her to keep us apprised on that because I noticed it wasn't on any of their other scheduled events. So,
Terry, could you pass that along to her, please?
Sure.
To have her send out either by email or what be it to keep us apprised of when that is. Any other comments or anything? All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
I'll make a motion.
second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Schultz. Executive roll call vote, please.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. All right. Next item would be hearing from the public. We ask that anybody who would like to say anything come up to the podium, announce who you are, and keep it to a 5-minute maximum, please.
Well, I want to thank the board again for giving me a minute. My name's Donald Reed. I moved in this area about 30 years ago. I own property in Warrenton, St. Charles County. And I've had a fireworks stand in Wright City next to the Dollar General for about 7 years. So I don't know a lot about fireworks, but I've had 7 years' experience. And I was just looking over some of the ordinances there. If you would have any questions, I can give you my 7-year opinion. Of course, we know we have a lot of hurdles when we open up a business with the state permits, the state fire marshals, the local fire departments, and I do think it's a good idea to, let's say, for example, if you're thinking of fireworks, if it's okay, I may speak about fireworks.
Sure.
I think it's a good idea maybe to have, and nobody does this in any towns I know of, but maybe have a building inspector to look at the tent, make sure it ain't falling down before the public. Because I have seen several blow away. Mine hasn't, but I've seen some blow away. And you wouldn't want to have 80 people in there and the wind blowing over. So I don't know if any other towns ever addressed that. I've never had anybody look at my construction, but I do know you wouldn't want a bunch of people in your tent and the wind come by and blow it over. I don't know if that's worthy of comment or not. And then, of course, I hope to have an outlet or a location if so being in Warrenton. I have a lot of Warrenton customers, and I'd like to maybe have a business in Warrenton if that works out for me. So I just wanted to introduce myself and thank you all. I think, of course, I've been in the fireworks business. I love it. I think it's great for the community and as a nation as a whole celebrating our force. So thank you very much. Nice to meet all you folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Could we just ask the question about the tent? Do we do anything on tent structures in town?
There would be a temporary structure permit, yes,
So you would, in essence, inspect the tent?
and so would the fire department.
Okay.
Make sure proper riggings and everything else.
That's a good idea.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. That answers it.
Just to, when I was working in Washington, just a few blocks down from where our Missouri Eagle was, they put up they had a fireworks tent there. And I know one year they had a storm and it wiped it out. So, I mean, it
Well, there was a lot of them last year, got either washed away or blew away, I can name them, so mine don't, but I believe that's why whoever inspects this should make sure they got them secure. You know, they can secure them where he might blow the canvas, but the metal parts isn't gonna kill somebody. And that's just the only point I'd like to say that might be of note for the safety. So,
Well, I appreciate your concern.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, not seeing anyone, we'll move on to Board of Aldermen comments.
Well, I don't know if I mentioned this last meeting, but I just wanted to again thank the city crew for the work they did on the sidewalk on Wabash. It's being used quite a bit. I was a little bit surprised how many people actually have motorized wheelchairs that are using the sidewalk before that were previously in the street. So I think it's a tremendous asset, and it's used quite a bit, and really appreciate the work you guys did on it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you. I'm going to keep mine short and sweet tonight. I applaud and thank our staff. We have more staff this year getting involved in Special Olympics things than we ever have, and I appreciate that effort. I like to see them getting involved. And for that, I'm going to just give you a good plug that our involvement is meaningful to me when I get to make it and come out, which is very rare, but the times I do get to make the after celebration, you do see how much of an impact it makes, and it's well worth it. So there again, buy shirts, come help do the ride, and help promote Special Olympics, and I appreciate it. Introduction to new employees.
First employee is Era Dempster. She is in the
Hi.
finance department.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Aaron Wyrick, his Public Works labor.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
He was a big part of putting that sidewalk in, so.
Great.
Good job, Aaron.
Good job.
Put your initials on it?
No. I think there was kids who beat him too. Yeah, there were kids who beat him too. Or adults.
And the next gentleman I have is John Strudroff, I'm sorry, John. As a meter reader.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome, John.
Welcome, John.
You guys have to stay the whole meeting.
They don't have to stay the whole meeting. You guys don't have to stay the whole meeting. Don't listen to it.
Welcome to the city. We hope you have a long and lengthy career with us. So, thank you.
You know, I know.
All right, next item would be the discussion of removing the consent agenda.
Well, I asked this to be put on the agenda because if you go back and look at YouTube, the typical length of a city meeting, it's 45 minutes to an hour 15. It's not a whole lot of time, but we tend to blow through the reports. So like tonight, Mike had a question about the economic development report. Well, technically, we shouldn't have discussed that part of the agenda. It should have been removed from the consent agenda, and then we could have a discussion about it. And I think we've gone like 4 or 5 months, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Gabrielle, there's been one single question about the financial reports of the city. And you would think if we had an opportunity or took the time in the meeting just to review that closer, there may be questions that would be of interest to us and to the public. And I think we're just missing that opportunity. I realize the argument was, well, if you put those things under consent, then you can go through the meeting quicker, it gives you more time. Well, it gives you more time for what? And so I just think we need to reconsider that issue. And I've had several people from the public comment that, they feel like the consent agenda, it's almost like you're trying to hide something from the public because you're really not recognizing or saying something specific about the reports, and it doesn't give you an opportunity to dialogue with whoever produced the report. So those are my only comments, and I never supported the consent agenda concept, and I probably was the only one if I recall. But I think as we process through, I think we need to really consider not doing this anymore.
Mayor, I've had, to kind of echo Gary's comment. I think I've had a couple people talk about, they remember the city saying we were going to be, and this goes back a couple years probably, the city would be more transparent, That seems to be the catchphrase now everywhere, no matter whether you're talking local politics, state politics, or federal. Transparency seems to be the big thing. And I had several comments about that too, that is, by not discussing some of these things, is there something that maybe the public is not being made aware of? And not that we are hiding anything. There's nothing. It's public record. They can come and ask for it anytime they want. But it just, I think, when we're talking about caretakers of the citizens' tax money, I think it's probably something that should be considered. So,
I think it's great to dialogue about it, and I think there's maybe other remedies or options we could do as well, besides removing it. Because I do believe that area of anybody who wanted to discuss a certain thing, we have the items that were removed from consent agenda. But I believe if the transparency thing is an issue, I think we have the capabilities of being able to post all those on our website or post them out in the front lobby for anyone who would like to come see them or observe them. And, but as far as discussion, that was why we included that items removed from consent agenda, was for a discussion dialogue.
Okay, then if we want to remove something, say we have, for example, the question tonight.
Sure.
If we want to put this under items removed from consent agenda, do we have a time frame we have to do that in? Because we get these on, evidently we have to get with Melody and let her know we want to do it.
Well,
You just move it at the meeting.
You just move it at the meeting?
Mhm.
Okay.
Does it require?
'Cause I was not aware of.
it does not require.
Okay.
And I think it's interesting, again, we've done this for 9 months or more. No one has ever requested to remove anything from the consent agenda to discuss it. And so I just find that interesting that if that's the option, we never take advantage of the option. I mean, to me, the only thing that makes sense on the consent agenda is the minutes, because we really don't discuss the minutes. But all the reports that these guys put hours of time in, it just to me, I thought the first meeting, well, heck, I'm just going to remove everything from the consent agenda every meeting, and that way we'll solve this problem. But, I'm not trying to be a butthead about it, but, it's just,
Well,
but.
well, first of all, if you asked 99 out of 100 people, I would bet 97 of them don't have a clue what a consent agenda is. So with that being said, the first thing that they're going to think of is the questions that were already addressed of the transparency. So the reason I assume that the consent agenda was formed in the first place is to speed the process of the meeting. Is that correct?
It was,
To a
but
degree,
Is that the
yes.
shortcut? Is that the shortcut?
it was, but
meeting
in the replace of that, we opened up.
Dialogue question.
We opened up dialogue, so that every meeting we had a discussion that we could bring a topic up in front of the board.
But
So-
only as of the last few months. We went quite a while when we didn't have a
Yeah.
discussion.
We just had the
topic.
consent agenda.
So the idea, because Terry and I talked about this, was to put the dialogue on, because if the idea was to speed the meeting up so we could talk about other topics, then we probably should have other topics to talk about. But we really haven't spent a whole lot of time. I haven't seen the meetings gone substantially longer than they did before, because I think when we have a discussion topic, it probably goes 15, 20 minutes max, and then it's like, well, we need more information generally, or we need to hear something else. And we don't really come to conclusions necessarily in that time frame. So, I think we could do both, and I don't think, to me, when you're sitting here at an hour, 15-minute meeting, and you're an elected official, and you're spending maybe 3 hours at meetings, regular council meetings, it doesn't seem like it's excessive from my perspective. I always got the impression from when I was reelected, there was a rush to get out. You just got the sense, well, let's keep the conversation quick and let's get out. I don't know why we want to get out. We're here to do the city's business, so.
Well, I don't have a problem if we, leave the minutes on the consent agenda
Okay.
piece. I think that makes it easy, especially if you've had multiple minutes throughout the week for other meetings and not just your regular board meetings. And I don't know if we have, it's not really a vote, is it to one way or the other, or just an
Tonight?
A or nay if we wanted to put everything back on? Or
Well, I think that tonight's is for discussion. I mean, there's no decision that needs to be made tonight on whether we are or don't. I think it's just open dialogue for what we want to,
Okay.
the direction we would like to
Well,
see.
and I think at the next meeting, feel comfortable to take whatever the reports are in the consent agenda out without us
Well-
staring at you funky.
I can take them all out.
I guess my thing is, though, my question is, if there's no discussion to be had, and it's just someone coming to make the report, if we are able to post those in different manners for people to be able to read, and we're not planning on discussing them, then why would we take that off a consent agenda?
I think we should post them, but I think we should probably talk about them as well, because I think there's various ways that people get information during our meetings. Some people would come down here, some people will go online, some people watch the TV.
And
So,
I understand, but what I'm getting at is, if you don't have anything to discuss on one of these, and it's just them making sure they're here to be able to read off a report, but we don't have any question or discussion with them, why wouldn't we just leave it on a consent agenda? Allow us to read it, and if we want it pulled off, put it on the items removed from the consent agenda to discuss.
but I think it does give the opportunity for the department heads to say, out of my entire report, these are the two things I really want to highlight this month. That say, okay, you've read the report, but notice these 2 or 3 things that are extra special this month. I mean, that might give them, some talking points of special things that have happened in the city.
I would agree to a certain extent, except for maybe some would rather be home instead of reading the report from the consent agenda. But I am open to listen to anything that's there.
Well, is this a procedural thing? We didn't pass ordinance on this. This is just how we
This
want
is
to do
something we'll,
business.
just discussion tonight.
Well, it's a good discussion. Again, quite honestly, I'm not sure exactly what we're trying to achieve. I know, visiting with everyone the last couple of weeks, I know everyone wants to be transparent. I know everyone is trying to achieve the same thing, and informing the entire public that we're not hiding anything, that we're not, that everyone is doing their job to their best of ability. So I really don't know what we're trying to achieve with the consent agenda, or not have a consent agenda, to be quite honest with you.
Well, to me, what I'm trying to concede to obtain by not having the consent agenda is an opportunity to interact with department heads, to ask them about some of their business, and to be transparent. That's really my motive for thinking about that, is just solely those 2 things.
Anyone else?
Would Brad better be ready next week? Or next meeting?
Any other discussion?
What does the staff have a
Yeah,
feeling about this?
that's a good question. Does the staff have any comment? I mean, this is,
You're here anyway, so you're.
I-
that's what we're discussing.
The truth is, I don't think the staff cares one way or the other. I don't think, and I don't want to speak for any of you, so any of you who do speak up, but they're going to be here for the meeting regardless of whether they have a monthly report on or don't. So I don't think anyone feels strongly one way or the other.
And if you want to speak up, there's no retribution, just speak.
We'll gladly answer any question you have.
That's great. Then I think an open discussion is very healthy for all of us.
I mean,
Some of our
personally,
reports are somewhat boring, it's X amount of violations. X
No, I don't
amount
think
of
you're boring at all, Jack.
permits, you know?
no, I think you're informative. To me, I would like to see us go back and not use the consent agenda on anything except minutes. And if we go 2 or 3 months down the road and we see meetings are running long, or other topics are being shut down because of this, then we rediscuss it. But to me, it's sped up the meeting, but for what? I mean, so I personally would prefer that we get away from that for a few months. And if it doesn't work, then we go back. I mean, it's not locked in stone.
Any discussion on it?
I'll make a motion that we,
Do any motions?
Okay.
Just a discussion tonight.
I don't have any more
We
discussion.
can look at it at the next
And
meeting.
we'll look at it, whatever.
So, all right. Next item would be the discussion topic for sign regulations regarding window signs.
Now we're going to discussion.
Now,
Now we got something to talk about.
well, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, you talked about how the temporary regulation signs on windows doesn't make any sense, and I've been thinking a lot about that too, but I just don't. To me, I like the part of what the zoning board did with, instead of its flat square footage for the size of the sign on the building, to have a table in there so that the building sign varies with the size of the building. That makes all sorts of sense in the world. I have no problem with that, but I just don't see how it's detrimental that if a property owner or business wants to put a sign or a display up that covers the whole window, that we should be sitting here telling them how to do their business. I'm not a business expert in those areas.
I agree.
I agree 100%.
The only thing, I thought this through, and I don't want to put any restrictions, but in the same respect, just talking amongst a few people, and is there some way, I just don't want to see a piece of duct tape and a piece of cardboard. I mean, a professional sign, as far as they covering the whole window, I don't care, it's their window, but it maybe just prevent, some type of prevention of putting just a piece of cardboard with a piece of duct tape, a homemade sign. That's the only type of, and I don't know if we can have the both, or have all that, but I certainly don't have a problem with anybody putting a sign in their window and advertising anything they want, whether it's 100% of the window or if it's 90% of the window. It's their window they advertise on. But I'd like other people's opinion, but in the same respect, I would like to think that no one would just make a homemade cardboard sign up and duct tape it to the window. What's everybody else think?
Well, the ordinance specifically talks about how, if you scroll down here, it says, temporary signs shall be maintained in good repair. I don't know what that means, but, I mean, I don't know if is there anything else in the ordinance that talks about the quality of the sign? Because what you're talking about is a quality issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in terms of temporary signs, I don't see anything else in the ordinance that talks about the quality of a temporary sign. Is that the only place the references it? Shall be,
Said something about vinyl in there, but I don't, I think what we're talking about on the 100% is those
Yeah, and that's fine.
solar type
And again,
shade things.
that's all I was trying to make it easy for everybody. It's their window, let them advertise.
But,
the whole section on sign standards is on, in your machine, it's section 425.090, standards for signs. So I don't know what's in there that would give us the because that verbiage was used several times at the zoning meetings. Well, they want something to look professional, and they didn't want it to look unattractive to the community, and then you get into something pretty subjective, because what's unattractive to somebody is attractive to somebody else. So you're getting
Yeah, and that's
pretty
fine.
subjective area. So I don't know what we could put in the ordinance or suggest to be put in the ordinance that,
I thought there was already enough in there about, keeping the upkeep of the signs, the maintenance of signs and everything like that. Really, the only thing I had an issue with was the size. The percentage of window coverage and everything. That was really about the only thing I saw in there that I had an issue with.
As long as we got the size issue, then we're not dictating that they can't cover a percentage of a square footage and so on and so forth, make it real simple. I'm fine with that. They want to cover their window with 100%, let them cover their window with 100%.
so how do other let me ask Chris, how do other communities deal with this whole issue of personal taste, I guess that's what you call it?
Well, I guess it was last year, and we actually dealt with this during the election. The U.S. Supreme Court has come down on this Arizona case that basically says you can't regulate content at all. you could regulate material, but you can't say what is, and content has really been defined very broadly, as far as, what is applicable and what's restricted by the city under the First Amendment. So, and it's not very clear what would be a content regulation and what wouldn't. So you could, you couldn't rip the bottom of, we could regulate and say it can't be just the bottom of a piece of cardboard. But you can't say, obviously it can't be obscene and it can't use bad language, but it can't really have too in-depth of a regulation. We've kind of stripped that out of our code, and it's got to be consistent. Honestly, bad upkeep of a sign or a sign in disrepair, we've dealt with that for years. You take a picture of it, the string's hanging down, one portion's up, blah, blah, blah. We send them a notice, they get it fixed, or, eventually we take it down and remove it. So, I'm actually okay with that language because it's kind of a reasonable person test, and most people take pretty good care of their signs. Most people only have it up for a limited period of time, but when it gets bad, we deal with it, and it's not really something where somebody comes back and complains or has an issue with it.
So, most of the issues dealing with the percentage and with the size, correct? Is that what I'm taking?
Yeah, I think that's.
And here, I just want to say this, a lot of communities haven't taken the content regulations out. So our sign code's actually probably a little bit better than most communities, because we did that. We had an issue come up a couple of years ago about political signs, and so we just stripped it out of the code completely. So I would say we're probably more on the cutting edge than a lot of communities have revised their sign codes.
The other piece I think that's in here, if I understand the reading of this, if you get all the way down to the bottom of the code, or close to the bottom, the requirement, sign permits required exceptions. So we're putting in an exception of, on a temporary window sign, you don't need a permit. But prior to this, you did need a permit, is that correct? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, the temporaries would not need a permit.
So that's new.
And we're wanting to make sure, now, if you want it where even just a regular window sign does not need it, a permanent one, that'd be up to you guys. But that way there would be no permit process for the temporary window signs. And that's defined as it's attached from the inside in the temporary nature.
Because if we required a permit for a temporary sign, to me, that would be a nuisance. But that would put the burden of judgment on you or on whoever's issuing the permit, which if we don't give you guidelines, then you're in a situation where you can't really make a decision that, I think this blue clashes with this orange, that was horrible.
And that's
and that's not the position we should put you in.
Well, and you couldn't, the blue clashes with the orange would be content regulation. You could not regulate that under the certain case.
Currently, it's just the size.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Size.
And again, as I understand the process, the zoning board has acted on this. We can take the recommendations, modify them how we see what we feel is the standard of the community. We're not required to take this back to zoning board. So this is laying on our table for some action to either accept what they did as a whole or pull out sections or add sections in that we would deem would be more compatible with what we thought the community wanted.
And you could refer it back to them as well.
We could, but we don't necessarily have to.
You do not have to.
If you want to direct me what you want revised in this, I can have it ready for the next meeting for you.
Well, I think the part about requiring permits for temporary signs, I think they shouldn't be required to have a permit. So I'd leave that in there. Am I right? The red sections are stuff you're adding in. So
Yeah, red is new. If it's highlighted yellow with a line through it is what I was deleting. So basically, if I understand so far, you want to remove any restrictions that specify in a percentage for window coverage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Percentages and size.
I like the add-in at the table. I'm not sure if the verbiage needs to be changed, though. If you go to number 2, it says, subject to further limitations in section, the aggregate sign display area equal to the amount shown on the table, including windows. So explain again what that means, because
That would be if your storefront's 1,000 square feet, you'd have up to 15% or 150 square feet of that storefront, and it wouldn't matter if it's all brick or if it's all window, you've got that maximum. So if you're putting, whatever you put in that window, it would be included in your total calcs.
Yeah, that's,
So how does that affect?
That's hard. How are you going to regulate that? Because let's say somebody, well, let's just pick on a local business, which I'm sure they'll love publicity. Let's take Jack in the Box. They probably have a sign attached to their outside that meets the signage regulations. So if they put a bunch of window signs in advertising the product, that's going to impact that sign that's affixed, and I don't want it to impact the square footage of the sign that's fixed. So how does that have to read different?
You could say excluding window signs.
That's what I was thinking. You understand what I'm talking about?
yeah, because, and that's what I'm getting at. It's about regardless of the size of the building, if the window's a 3x3, if they want to put a 3x3 sign, then put a 3x3 sign. But by reading this, if it's 1,000 square foot front, we're timesing that by whatever this calculation is, and that includes the window size. That's just too complicated. If they have a window, this business has a 2-foot window, and they want a 2x2, and they want to put a 2x2 sign, then it's fine. If this business has a 4x4 window, and they want to put a 4x4 sign, that's fine.
And I believe the logic from the P&Z Commission was if you had a storefront that had 800 square foot of glass compared to a storefront with 100 square foot of glass, if you excluded the windows, the one business is going to have 8 times more signage than the other. So they were trying to be fair, is what I believe why they included it.
You see the issue?
Buy the building with more windows.
Need more windows.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, because to me, this table should apply only to the affixed sign. The permanent sign, it's affixed to the building. Temporary sign should not play a part in this, regardless of how many windows or the size of the windows. Because I think it's going to be easier to regulate, because once you do the calculation on the building, they affix a sign that fits within the table, you're done. Anything else that goes in the window, you don't have to worry about. And yeah, the storefront, the guy who buys the building that has an all-glass front, maybe has an advertising advantage, but I'm sure when he purchased the building or leased the building, he thought about, well, look, I could display merchandise or I could do something with this window. So I don't have a problem with that.
So far, I mean, I believe, it sounds like the board's in pretty much agreement for the excluding of percentages in the window sign area, as well as combined on to do away with the combined on affixed signs with window signs for percentage.
Yes, and the permits.
And I'm sorry, yes, and the permits. So, you got that, Jack?
So since we're not regulating window signs at all, a regular window sign would no longer need a permit?
Correct.
Okay,
That's why
that's easy to fix.
I'll give you more time to write a report.
And discuss it.
And it should make your life easier, Jack.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's all about making your life
We'll
easier.
find you something else to do. There's a lot of trash in town.
All right, any further discussion on this? All right. Next item would be hearing from Director of Operations and Finance Officer Terry Thorne.
The item I have for you this evening is the question on the annual sales tax holiday. That's coming up this year from Friday, August 5th through Sunday, August 7th. If the city wishes to participate, then we take no action. If the city chooses to opt out, then you would need to vote to opt out, and then we must notify the state. So the question is, do you wish to participate in the annual sales tax holiday?
I would choose to participate.
Yes, I agree.
I should,
Yes. I think
So
we
we
should.
don't take no action.
I think the majority of the board agrees, take no action.
The only other thing I have for you under operational updates is just to ask the chief to share with you the information on Officer Swafford's award.
I think you all have a letter from Mental Health America at your positions tonight. Officer Swafford was nominated and ultimately selected for a McAtee Award actually by our community mental health liaison, Michelle Horvath. I actually don't even know for what case it is, so we'll find that out when we go to the event, which is kind of cool. But he did something within the community with somebody who had a mental health crisis and impressed her enough to submit his name. So the reason that I'm coming to you guys with it is it would be great if any of you would like to come join us for that. The recognition luncheon is on May 25th at 11:30 down at the Missouri Athletic Club downtown. So we would probably leave here around 10:30, probably maybe a little bit before that, and get down there. If you are interested, just give me a call and I'll get the ticket arranged, and we'll arrange a ride for you as well. So I would encourage you to do that. Well, sure. This
But
time
you
in
have
the
to
front
send them
seat.
back with a case.
That'd be cool.
But to sound off on that, relatively new concept in law enforcement and CIT
Yeah.
and a crisis intervention team. And what a wonderful program. It's not what they teach is for law enforcement to be able to pick up on scene is amazing from what I've seen and heard and dealt with.
Yes.
And as well as what we've been told in the past. You know, for a loved one who has to deal with somebody on a day in and day out basis, for law enforcement to come and compassionately deal with their loved one, this is a huge thing that, and I'll applaud the police department right now because I know you've been sending people to CIT and trying to get majority of our department CIT certified. And
Yes,
that
and
is a
I
huge
have a theory about CIT, and that is that, not every officer possesses, the ability to have that sort of compassion in that situation. So I don't try to force feed anybody. Basically, we look for officers who are more suited to do that, and we send those guys to CIT. It's a pretty big commitment. It's a week-long school, and then it's a commitment to the program going forward. So every time on a squad, if they have a situation that involves somebody who's having a crisis, that officer is requested to respond to the scene, and it's pretty much handed over to them to handle. So it's a pretty big responsibility, which is why we kind of handpick the people that we send and get trained.
You can pick me up at 1832 Schutz Road.
Yes, I could.
Would that be cool?
I'll attend, but I'll just meet you guys
Yeah.
down there.
Well, we could probably ride together because we're really close.
And I'll have to check my calendar, but I would like to attend as well.
Okay, so the three of you then?
Yes.
All right.
But I can drive
Mike?
down there.
Yeah, we're not picking him.
I mean, I can.
We're
I can
already
drive.
down there.
I'm far way down there anyway, so I can drive myself.
But wouldn't it
I'll have to
be fun
check
to be
my
in a
calendar,
cop car?
Just let me know so I can get everybody signed up.
It's if you haven't been, this is a really neat. They really do a class act job at this. I know one of the Warren County Sheriff's Department deputies was awarded one and didn't know what to expect. Went down there and my socks were blown off. Just how well they put together the whole awards.
It is a very cool event. Absolutely. All right,
Thank
and
you.
can I go ahead and talk about Special Olympics as well?
So,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
With that, do you want us to go online?
No,
and-
I'll take care of that.
Okay,
I will take care of getting everyone signed up, so.
okay.
As soon as you know, let me know. So, to piggyback the mayor's comments about Special Olympics, just another reminder, we have two events coming up this Saturday, May 7th. I'll let Jack talk for a second about his scavenger hunt, if you want.
Yeah, it's a scavenger hunt, generate donations for the torch run. It'll start at 10 o'clock over at the pavilion and wrap up at 2:30. We've got several good prizes, had them donated to help get people to join in on the fun. We got a half a hog from Ray Camp Farms. We got shirt, hat, and hoodie from 2K Power Sports. Got a motorcycle helmet and a gift certificate from Chariots of Fire Customs. Got a gift bag from St. Charles Harley Davidson. 3 shirts from Jammer Joint and 1 shirt from Jim Chineri Motorsports. It's going to be a scavenger hunt. leave Warrenton, go to Jonesburg, Herman, Washington, and back to Warrenton, and just 5 questions to answer that you can easily figure out on your ride.
Wow.
Help see everybody there.
This is the first time you've done this.
This thing, yes, I did a putt-putt golf in the past.
Yeah, but this
Turned out pretty good.
For me, that's amazing that you put this together. Thank you.
It's gonna be fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm on the the Warren County Disability Board, and board's made up of a number of parents who have children that participate, and you have no idea how a highlight this is to these kids and what it means to the parents. When you sit there and talk in the board meeting about how they look forward to this, and this is their life, it's just really special.
It is
So it's
special.
commendable work.
It absolutely is. And again, Mayor, to piggyback what you said, the Special Olympics has always been my pet project. And for the whole staff to get behind it the way they do is amazing. Jack, the way you got on it is just amazing. So I too appreciate what everybody has done with regard to Special Olympics and really, adopting that as their sort of special project as well. Moving on, it's a full day of fundraising things that evening. So we're talking Saturday evening again, from 5 to 9 at Emo's will be our Tip-A-Cop event. Police officers will be walking around and asking for extra tips, which will obviously directly benefit Special Olympics. So we'll be looking for donations. Jack will also have T-shirts that morning, but we'll have T-shirts and other goodies down at Emo's for people to purchase, and all of those proceeds go to Special Olympics as well. We'll also kick off our part of the raffle for the truck.
Yep, the truck there.
Alderman Miller is going to help us out by bringing down a truck for us, so we can have at least an exemplar truck that people can see it and touch it and see what they have the potential to win. But boy, we sold a bunch of raffle tickets last year, and I hope to eclipse that number this year.
I would love for you guys to.
And just as an aside, last year, we actually raised over $13,000 here in the city of Warrenton for Special Olympics.
Wow.
It was a great effort. It really was. I think that's it. Oh, well, no, it's not. How about the run? May 11th, next Wednesday.
I'll direct you to another alderman about that.
Run, I'm out. I'm out on any runs.
I believe,
Don't do runs.
I don't know if he's going to be able to participate this year, but Alderman
Are you guys
Schultz
gonna be wearing
usually
high
does
heels again this
participate.
year?
I'm not going to be.
We will not be wearing high heels for the run. That was another event entirely.
Oh, all right, got confused, sorry.
But I owned that. I owned that high heels.
Got a jury trial.
Can we hitchhike?
No.
That was more of a drag.
Anyway, our torch run will start May 11th. Looks like we're probably going to start around 9:45 in Forestel from the commuter lot in Forestel. We'll be going past all the schools on the way back in Wright City, and then the schools off of Cool here in Warrenton and on south in Truesdale. It's always a great event. The kids actually love it when we come through school, not only because they get to come out of school for a few minutes, but they seem to get a real kick out of seeing the runners go by, and it's a huge encourager for the guys, the officers, and other folks that are carrying the torch.
You guys end at the ambulance shed?
I'm sorry?
You end at the ambulance
City Hall.
shed?
No, but the ambulance follows us.
I know, I'm kidding.
The ambulance follows us. So we expect to be back here at City Hall between 12:15 and 12:30. Usually we're pretty close to on schedule with that. And there will be a reception out on the front lawn. Encourage everybody that can possibly come down to come and see that. Again, until you experience, like Alderman Ock said, until you experience it, you just have no idea how those folks.
Yeah, I
just-
have. It's
just
a
warm your
wonderful
heart.
experience.
Yeah.
Well, not just that, but if you're going to come, make it a little early because it's gotten bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
And it's very impressive.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next item would be, unfortunately, Michelle is not here, but that's who we'd be speaking with Economic Development Director Michelle Slenther. I do believe it's on the approval to apply for the Bulletproof Vest Grant. Chief? Fill us in on that?
I'll give you a little background. We require by policy for our officers to wear bullet-resistant vests. Every year, we've been fortunate enough to apply for this grant, which really helps us to offset the extraordinary cost of these vests. They usually cost somewhere between $600 and $700 each, and their life expectancy is about 5 years. So we're usually getting those 5 years out of them. But this really helps us to get new officers outfitted and helps us to replace the ones that are already on the road and have been for 5 years. It's a 50% match. The officer comes up with the other 50% out of their uniform allowance, but it really helps them, and it helps us to ensure that they have a good vest when they're out on the road. So, seeking approval to move forward with the bulletproof vest grant.
Anybody have any questions? I'm sorry, did you have a comment?
No, I was just wondering, do we need to?
We do. I'll entertain a motion to approve to apply for the bulletproof vest grant.
So move.
Motion made by Alderman Shell Harvey, seconded by Alderman Schultz. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we'll be hearing from Finance Manager Gabriel Curry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The first item I have is the accounts payable in the amount of $272,574.50.
I had a question, not specifically for you, but maybe Terry can answer. Notice there's a lot of bills related to painting of the swimming pool, getting ready for the season. Brad's not here. How's that going?
They've completed that,
Okay.
so Brad does not anticipate any slowdown in getting the pool ready to open. The interior of the pool is ready, I believe, to start filling.
Great.
So they filled cracks. We had some really major cracks that had to be filled, and have repainted the whole interior of the pool with 2 coats of paint. So we should be in really good shape with the interior of the pool.
Great.
Any other questions? Comments? All right. Entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $272,574.50.
So moved. I'll second.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Miller. If I could roll call vote, please.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, the next item I have is the health insurance waiver reimbursements. These are the employees that have health coverage by another source other than through the city of Warrenton. So per the policy, they have the ability to be reimbursed for half of the cost of single coverage. So that's why I'm requesting. In the amount of $23,742.18. We're requesting that be paid on the June 3rd payroll.
Any questions on that?
Make a motion, we approve the payment of the reimbursement of healthcare coverage waivers.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Deloy. If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
And I hope the employees realize that next year the waivers will be a lot lower.
By 14%.
Yeah.
All right, next on the agenda, we'll be hearing from City Clerk Melody Rue.
The city has received an application for a park alcohol beverage permit from Gateway Refrigeration for, I believe it's an employee appreciation picnic. This is going to need board approval because we do not have the Grounds and Cemetery Committee anymore. So the application is on your Dropbox if you have any questions.
I was going to say, where did you see that? Oh, there it's.
Brinkley Woods, yeah.
Hinkley Woods.
Yeah.
And I believe it's going to be from like noon to 6, I think is what they said.
6 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Make a motion, we approve the application for the park alcoholic beverage permit.
Yeah, and a second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Miller to approve the application for the park alcohol beverage permit to Gateway Refrigeration on July 30th, 2016. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
And then I guess my next question is how the board would like to handle future alcohol beverage permits since we do not have a grounds and maintenance cemetery committee.
Discussion on that? Anyone? I need guidance. I mean, I kind of like the police chief and ground maintenance.
Can the police chief just approve these? Does it have to be oversight by a committee, or?
Now, my recommendation for you is to have joint approval by the grounds and maintenance director and the police chief. The problem with bringing it to the board is sometimes the application comes in so late that we have to wait 2 weeks for a board meeting, we miss the event.
So what happens if they disagree? You don't have a third person?
Bring it to the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
if there was a disagreement between those two departments, then I would say require board approval.
I agree, because it makes sense, it makes things easier, it's gonna make things flow better. If someone wants to have a last-minute barbecue in the park, and we don't have a meeting for 2 weeks, and they wanna have it this Saturday, I don't want them to be denied not to have that. That makes things a lot easier. I mean, the chief is available most of the time every day, and the grounds and maintenance is,
Yes.
they're full-time employees here every day. That makes perfectly good sense to me.
I agree. Anything to expedite some of this stuff.
Does everybody pretty much agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the police chief and ground maintenance director to take this task over with, if there is a disagreement, the board to be the final say. Only upon disagreement.
After you've totally boxed it out.
Okay, second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Shell Harvey. If I get a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda will be bills to ordinance. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 11-16.
Call for the first reading of bill number 11-16.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Ox, seconded by Alderman Shell Harvey.
An ordinance amending section 405.285 of the municipal code of the city of Warrenton, Missouri pertaining to planned unit development.
Entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 11-15.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Alderperson Casterly, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance amending section 405.285 of the municipal code of the city of Warrenton, Missouri pertaining to planned unit development.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. All right, next item would be entertaining motion for the first reading of bill number 12-16.
Call for the first reading of bill number 12-16.
I'll second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
An ordinance amending section 210.710 of the municipal code of the city of Warrenton, Missouri relating to the sale or use of fireworks.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 12-16.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Casterly, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance amending section 210.710 of the municipal code of the city of Warrenton, Missouri relating to the sale or use of fireworks.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. All right. That pretty much concludes it, so I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make that motion.
Second.
2 seconds.
Scott second.
Who made the first one?
Miller.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Schultz.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
Reverse. Okay. Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Miller.
Take longer to adjourn the meeting than it
It's a shot.
Need a roll call, just all in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're so adjourned.